Hey, what is going on, guys? Thank you so much for tuning into yet another episode of the Sports Muse podcast. I am your host, Kevin Brumley. I just sat down with CJ Williams. It's a pretty long interview. He had a lot of really cool, interesting things to say, and I didn't really want to cut from it. So I'm really cutting the intro out of this. We're going to watch a little bit of highlights. We're going to get right to the interview. So let's go. In the interview, CJ and I talk about the importance of route running in hands, and right here he shows both in spades. He gets the DB, thinking go route. He comes back, toe taps, beautiful catch, beautiful route. As a wide receiver, you have to be able to do everything. Catching the ball is part of the job, but stock blocking is the other part. Look at him get that nickel back and turn him, and then later in the game, the nickelbacks felt his strength. He's going to hit him with the stock and go. He's going to dig deep, make a big catch to protect his quarterback, and then right here, it's hard to see, but he gets the quarterback drifting outside, plants that foot, makes the post catch. All right, guys, like I said on the show today, is not only one of the best players in California, but one of the very best players in the nation and very well could be the best receiver in the 2022 class. I have on CJ Williams. CJ, how you doing, man?
Good. How about you, sir? How about you, Mr. Brumley?
You know what, man? I'm doing well. I'm hanging in there, so I can't complain. You know what I mean? With everything that's going on, all the craziness in this world, being all right is fine with me.
I'm right there with you. Can't complain. Happy, healthy, just can't complain.
Absolutely. And I told you off the air, man. I'm a comic book guy. I dig it. You know, I got a little bit of a Captain America, Spider-Man, Batman tattoo going on, so I'm down on the comic books.
Like it up. I'm a comic book guy. So,
Kind of tell me a little bit about yourself. You know, who is CJ Williams?
shoot. So born in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. My dad attended the University of Alabama. My mom is originally from the Philippines. She moved out here. So, yeah, her mom, her brother. So she's a grinder in herself. My dad's a grinder in himself. He moved back from Alabama to California, then back to Alabama so he could attend college there. So kind of just roots from all over, I would say, which is pretty cool with me, But I've lived the majority of my life in California. Moved here to California when I was, I don't want to say 3 or 4 years old. Lived in the Valley, Oxnard area, which is different than SoCal for sure. But happy I'm in SoCal now. I grew up here for a good amount of time. Probably moved here when I was like 6, 7. So I'm in Oxnard for a while, but happy. It's different in SoCal, and I'm happy I grew up here, and I got an older sister, a younger brother. Can't be more happy with my life for sure.
Nah, man, that's awesome to hear. And like, you just seem like a happy, positive individual.
Right.
You know, you seem like you really take in the moment, which
Mm-hmm.
is just a cool thing, man. Because I get it. You know, you're probably being hit up, and it's a lot of like, in a weird way, pressure for being like a young man. But I feel like you carry it well. So clearly you have great backing from your parents. So it's really cool to see, man. And you're one of those kids that you want to see succeed. You just seem like a happy guy, and I would root for you no matter what.
I appreciate it. I appreciate that. Thank you, sir. I just want to chime in too. Your job raising me. I should have said that, but very optimistic all times. See the best in everything. So I'm happy to have two great, loving parents. Me like I was in the South the entire time with the yes sirs and no ma'ams and all that. So.
And that's awesome, man. And that's a blessing in itself. Because some people aren't even that fortunate. So one thing that was really interesting is I just, I've been on your Instagram before, and I just happened to notice this the other day. Is I don't remember verbatim, I didn't write it down.
Mm-hmm.
But you have something along the lines of like, you're a weirdo on your Instagram, which is funny because like I'm a teacher, and I do icebreakers with the kids the first time I meet them, and I'm like, hey, I'm a weirdo, man. I'm a weird guy, and I embrace it. And I just thought it was so cool that like you seem like you're like, listen, man, I'm not an orthodox person. I like that. So which ways are you a weirdo? What would make you describe yourself that way?
So actually, the hashtag I have in my Instagram bio is certified. I have that video game emoji, which is actually one of my favorite emojis. Just say I got that by 8th grade year. I shadowed. So shadow is a program you go through. You got me. So shadow is a program that you go through, and you go to certain private schools in the area, and you experience the day with one of the players. So one of my shadows was if you remember him, Jaden Woodby out of St. John Bosco.
Okay.
He was a safety. He went to Florida State. Probably will get drafted this upcoming year. Guy I looked up to him when I shouted that too, and that was something he had prior to me shadowing him. And like you said, I was doing a little bit of research on my guys before I shadowed them. So on his Instagram page, looked like a fun, loving dude. You know, I looked up to him growing up as a kid and just his game in general. As far as the person he was, you know, could tell he carried himself high. One of those dudes that was highly recruited. And, you know, I was like, I want to be like this dude. I want to be a highly recruited athlete. I want to be a great person at the same time. Kind of weirdo kind of just stuck with me. And then like last year around this time was like when I put it in my bio and people kept asking me about it. I was like, I just want to sum it up as a free guy, not to the fullest. Obviously, there's certain things I can, you know, I'm a happy, loving dude, and I see the optimistic point of life, and I want it to be fun and just have that aspect to it.
And I'm with you, man. And I just like me personally, I just kind of like to just go with the vibe, and I'm very much like I march to the beat of my own drum, and I don't like to be with everybody else. If everybody else is wearing this, you know, if everybody else goes right, I like to go left.
Exactly.
Just because it's just I don't know, like why would I want to be like everybody else? I want to be the only Kevin Brumley. Um,
Exactly.
Yes, yes. So I'm completely with you, man. And let's get into like a little bit of your offers. You've essentially been offered by every powerhouse school in the nation, and you haven't even started your junior year yet. What does that mean to you, man?
No, it's crazy for sure. I had just seen a stat about someone that posted from the University of Duke, one of those rivals guys. They were like, CJ Williams has been offered by 65+% of Division I program or Power Five programs in college football, which is crazy. Growing up, I didn't. If you came up to me as a 10-year-old kid, you never would have told me. I would have never told you myself that I was going to be a highly recruited dude. I would have been like, I'd walk in my local high school and then end up just, you know, that would be the end of it. That's what my child self would have told you. And, see, my thought, that's where my thought process was, because growing up, I wasn't a superior athlete to my peers. And, you know, I had some dudes on my team, my youth football teams, that were just legit athletes and, you know, great when I watched them. I was like, dude, these guys are great. These guys are very good football players. And when there was stuff that, you know, you see them and then you play against other kids, you be like, they're good too. So myself wasn't a great big kid, not a good athlete. So I kind of worked with what I had. You know, I played defensive end and just was a long, lengthy kid and kind of grown into my body. So I feel like I'm one of those dudes that you really like grinded it out and then in the end made the most of it. And that work kind of paid off as far as with those offers and just all of those accolades.
And that has to be like one of just the absolute best feelings is to like put in the work and have it pay off, because so often, you know, people put in some work, but they don't put in like everything. They don't sink like their heart and soul into something, but it's so cool when you do, to really have it hit home and pay off, and like to look at it and be like, wow, like this is my life. Cause I'm sure in a way it almost kind of doesn't feel real to you.
It doesn't. Someone had just so we're in the process of kind of dropping like a top 15 school list for me, because you go from 40, you got to cut it to something. So I was talking to one of the 247 guys. He's like, just drop a top 15 so you can have a wide amount of schools. You're still young. You're going into your junior year. You never know what'll happen as far as with Corona and all this. So it's an unstable situation. So, you know, kind of drop this top 15 if you feel like it, and you know, narrow down your schools so you can really get the gist of it when September 1st comes around. So we were talking to this one guy. He's gonna film my top 15 for me. We're gonna drop a little video. He's talking to my dad now. He's like, so this was one of the guys that knew me when I was younger. It took there was a period of time where we just didn't really talk, and then we just caught up like recently. So he was sitting there. He was like, so he was asking my dad. He's like, my one question is it weird to have, you know, this kid and you saw him growing up, and did you ever think that he was going to be like a dude like this? You ever think he was going to be highly recruited, all this stuff, be an All-American? My dad was like, it was never a thought in our mind until really 8th grade. That's when my wings opened. And then my dad was like, yeah, maybe we can really get a check out of this and, you know, make and then get a free education. So just that by itself, I got to look back at my life, and then I look at it now. I'm like, and sometimes it's crazy to be I am.
That's awesome, man. And you talked about dropping a top 15, and you don't have to say which schools. Obviously, I'm not going to put you on the spot like that. But are there a few schools that you're kind of leaning toward right now?
I can tell you this honestly, that USC will be on there, being that they're down the street, and then they recruit me so hard, and I'm falling in love with Coach Huggins doing there. And Michigan was my first ever offer. Kid that never thought I would receive a college scholarship offer got offered by Michigan as a freshman. So they're on there too. Just out of respect and respect for their program. And great coaching staff. Coach Harbaugh is doing his thing over there. The Ohio, great school. Great school, puts out wide receivers, NFL talent every year. Coach Hartline is a great coach, great recruiter. So there's a couple that are in stone for sure.
No, that's great, man. And it's all about just trying to figure out what fits best for you, because it is somewhere you're going to be spending a lot of time at. You know what I mean? A lot of hours. So you want to find the right fit for you as a human being.
Yes, sir.
You've played with two high level. I mean, we talk about Bryce Young, we talk about Miller Moss. Two of the absolute best quarterbacks in the nation. How cool is it to play with two so high level quarterbacks in high school? I mean, like I said, you're going into your junior year, and Bryce him and DJ were the two best quarterbacks in the country. You know what I mean? And then Miller's an absolute baller too. How cool is that?
Two ballers. I would say two of the best I've ever caught for, two of the best I will ever catch for, whether it's here or the next level. So just a little bit about Bryce. Bryce, great dude, always, lives his life toward God. Obviously was an SC dude, committed to Alabama, but I never saw a glimpse of cockiness out of Bryce for pride. And even though he's the number one player in the country, and I can say that, with my full heart, that Bryce was that number one player in the country, number one quarterback in the country, because he just did all the little stuff right, and it translated to the field. He was always in the film study, sitting there talking to his receivers. He was always in the weight room getting done what he needed to get done. He was always there with the sprints, competing. He was just a competitor. So Bryce Young did the little stuff right, and it translated to the field. You saw it. The ball for Bryce was so easy for me to catch because it was always in the right spot, and it didn't really take too much work for me. And then just talking about Miller's in general, it's just Miller, excellent dude. Came into Mater Dei. Haven't really played it down of actual football with him yet, but I've been able to play some 7-on-7s because we both played for a similar team, and then we've been able to I was throwing with him this morning, so he's a grinder as well. Smart dude. You can tell in the way he talks about the game, and just kind of the way he'll take other people's strengths and put it to his game. Kind of like Bryce. He would take stuff from Bryce and kind of just, how did Bryce do this? Bryce did this so well. What made him so good at this? So just the fact that he's open to do that stuff, and just the fact that he slings the ball so well, and it's just so smooth. So two great dudes.
When we talk about that's SoCal scene is, dude, absolute killers there at quarterback. You know what I mean? We talk about, Bryce and Miller and, Jake Garcia and Malachi Nelson's, going into his sophomore year, but he's a baller. Malik, dude, that scene over there is just filthy with quarterback talent. It's crazy.
Filthy for sure.
I didn't even mention DJ. You know what I mean? There's another one.
I would say I've been able to catch from a majority of those dudes you just listed. I called Malachi back in 8th grade. We played the tournament together, not knowing who each other were at all. Like, obviously, we both had offers or anything. No notoriety. We walked up to a tournament, played with each other, made it to lost to one of the elite teams out there on our first day and played together. So I'm already going to be a baller. Malik was my 7-on-7 quarterback. He was our quarterback for our feeder team for Mater Dei 7-on-7. My 8th grade with Domani Jackson and Josh Hunter, both on that team, just killing it. So I've seen a majority of these good quarterbacks out here, and I'm safe to say that Cali probably has the best quarterback scene out there.
Oh, I agree. I don't think it's much of a debate. And if you do want to debate it, I mean, I would ask you to check the stats and check out the offers.
Stats and then the players, and just watch their film. There you go. Doesn't lie.
Absolutely. And when we talk about a little bit of St. John Bosco, with them in Mater Dei, they're not only the two best teams in like California, but they're two of the best teams in the nation. They're always, 1-2 somewhere in that neighborhood. Is, with you guys being so competitive with each other, is there any kind of like bad blood between the schools, or does it kind of just chill, relax? You know what I mean? Once it's off, the game's over, you guys cool? Or is there, because I've talked to some people from rival high schools and there is a little bit of bad blood, but I was curious if with Mater Dei and St. John Bosco, if there's any.
I would say though the Trinity League is very competitive just in itself. I'd say one of the most competitive leagues in the nation with us, Bosco, Olu, SM, J. Sarah, Servite. Great athletes come out of every single one of those schools. So there's a sense of competitive nature in those schools. But then you get the Bosco and the Mater Dei, and it's always that CIF championship. So that's competitive. I feel like we do have respect towards each other for sure. That's without a doubt. Like I'll tell you right now that I train with. DJ's was one of those best quarterbacks in that 2020 class. I trained with Bo Collins, one of the best wide receivers I've seen, athletically skilled and gifted. And then he goes on, he does a little stuff right as far as wide receiver. Logan Loya, I trained with him. Great guy, great, and great football player. So I would say, we do have respect for each other's game at the end of the day, but there is a sense of, animosity comes into it that needs to. It's how you make a great rivalry. Rollo has his, we have our, everybody on the coaching staff, the schools have it. Just that Bosco Mater Dei week when it's coming because everybody's in full gears ahead and you're practicing that whole day and you're preparing that whole week. So
we talk about you being a receiver, and I've been lucky enough to have Bo Collins and Logan Loya on the show. And I've asked them the same thing: is what's your favorite route to run?
So that's a hard question to answer. And, that's actually a question you get from a lot of college coaches when they give you a call. They'll say, one of the things they say, what's your favorite route to run? And you're supposed to answer, this is what you're supposed to go. Really, I love every route in the route tree. I can run any single route, whether it's press covers, off covers. And that holds true. I feel like I love every single route in the route tree. There's not one route I hold myself to. But if I really need to pick one at the end of the day, I think it would be a slant because the ability to run a slant out of off, out of press, and you can just manipulate that defensive back's body. If you catch it, you have full chances to take a yard and just run. And, give as far as when you're released at the top of the route, like the slant is a technique sound route. You really can't get that route off unless you're moving them one way because it's so tight in there, obviously. So, yeah, I think that is one of my favorite routes for sure.
I was a receiver in high school, not anywhere like I couldn't hold your jock strap, but like that was my favorite route to run too, man. Like, I think it's a man's route because you also have to worry about, a low hanging safety and outside backer. So you have to be smart with it. And there's, if you run into like a zone, a cover 2, cover 3, and then you have to get smart with the route of like where to sit down or where to keep going. So I just feel like the slant is a really, even though it's a simple route, it's not a deep route, but it's very complex and like how you need to run it in, multiple different coverages. So I like that. And, I have to ask you, who are some of the receivers you'd like to study?
As time goes on, I keep adding to this repertoire of the receivers I like to watch. So it kind of just started with DeAndre Hopkins was my dude to watch. His physical nature kind of plays like a defensive end and just also has the routes and the speed and has the hands, and he's just one of those dudes. And then it kind of went to Michael Thomas, who's a kind of a guy that looks like me. He's about 6'4". I'm about 6'2.5". I'm growing to that height. He's a Cali dude, so I respect him on a whole different level. And so Michael Thomas was a great route runner, knows, like you said, halting in his zone, kind of take that gear off when playing against certain coverages. So he's coverages. And I would say Keenan Allen, great route runner, legit. Ran a 4.7, 4.8 at the combine. You didn't know if he was going to be great or not, but he's proved it. And now that the NFL is ranking him on that top 100 so high and he has something to say about it, I'm all for it. I'm like, dude, talk to us now. You deserve, a top 20 spot because he is one of those dudes that can get separation, whether it's a press coverage and off coverage. He's just so great at everything. And I feel like what his route running ability, I have so much respect for the fact that he runs that 4.8, but he doesn't look like it for sure on film.
Dude, I honestly, I'm sure people are like, oh, of course you're going to agree with him because he's on the show. But, I'm sure my kids get tired because I always talk about Keenan Allen. And I talk about exactly that, man. It's nice to be John Ross fast. If you could run a 4.22, yeah, that would be awesome. But
Bless
there's a
him.
reason John Ross is the fourth string receiver on the Bengals, is he doesn't get the intricacies of route running. But you look at Keenan Allen, not a very fast guy. You know what I mean? There's backers are running faster than him, but the dude gets separation at the top of his routes. He gets off a press. And we're not talking about just getting open. We're talking about he's making elite DBs look silly out there. And he's just one of my favorite guys to watch.
I agree. I'm with you.
And so let's get to this. Two more questions before we get to rapid fire is give me a bold prediction about either Mater Dei's future or your personal future, whether it's at high school, college, pros. Give me a bold prediction about you and your team or yourself.
Me and my team. So a bold prediction. I got a pretty bold one for y'all this year. Y'all, this upcoming season when we play, you will see a state championship football team out of Mater Dei, hopefully, and the ability to win that Max Prep national championship and all the other ones in USA Today. And we don't control those, but we're hoping we can get that state championship and then finish my senior year with. So I'm gonna get 3 during my time here, and I'll 3 rings and I'll walk away with a big smile on my face for sure.
I like it, man. So let me ask you this. You have to rank these 4 traits/abilities, okay, in order. What would you rank them? Speed, size, hands, route running.
For matter of importance?
For a matter of importance.
Easy for me. Route running, hands, speed, and size.
I had the same thing. The only thing that it would be tough for me. I might flip the last 2 because it's tough. But I definitely go route running, then hands, and then the last 2 are kind of interchangeable for me. So I dig that. Who is the best wide receiver in high school football right now? It cannot be you or on Mater Dei's team.
The best football wide receiver, Emeka. I'm going to go with Emeka Egbuka. Dude up from Seattle, Washington. I got to see him up at the Oregon tournament. His route running abilities, like we said, is crazy. And then it pairs with the fact that he's a crazy athlete too. So
I'm with you. That's a good one right there. What is your favorite genre of movies?
Genre of romantic comedies for sure. Hitch.
Ooh, Hitch. I like it.
They're all great movies. I feel like they're feel good movies too. At the end, I feel like I came away with the message and had a little laugh in it. So
I like it. That's a good one. What is your favorite condiment?
Favorite condiment? Ooh, hot sauce. But I don't eat ranch. I don't eat ketchup. And I'm a really picky eater. I don't eat mustard, anything. So barbecue sauce. I'm a hot sauce guy.
Really?
Yeah. I don't eat anything that comes out of the ocean. So it's very interesting.
Huh. That's interesting. Yeah. That's.
Parents. I know my mom is from the Philippines. Is from the South, and I don't eat a majority of the food they make. Collard greens, they're from the Philippines as far as their dishes, because I know they eat a lot of fish and stuff like that.
That is really interesting, huh? Mm-hmm. What is your favorite food?
My favorite food, I love fruit, so I'm gonna go like strawberries or watermelon. I love fruit. Just can't go wrong with fruit for sure.
Okay, I mean, I wish my favorite food was like fruit or vegetables. Mine's like chicken Alfredo.
Chicken Alfredo is good too. You can't go wrong with chicken, mate. Fried chicken, all of that.
Ooh, good call. Give me an unpopular opinion you have, or like a hot take.
An unpopular opinion I have. I'm a Boston Celtics fan. My unpopular opinion. I always have this opinion too, and everyone always fights with me over it. I think that year that Isaiah Thomas had, where he was going off when his sister passed away, was better than any year that Kyrie Irving will ever have. The tenacity he played with and just the fire he played with. And, he brought that to the nation. And then they go and trade Isaiah Thomas for Kyrie the following year, and that made me upset because he had just played through his sister's passing and made the conference final, the conference championship, lost to obviously the Cavs. So
I like that. I think that's a good opinion. I like it. I'm for it. I would say mine's I get flack all the time for mine is I do not like LeBron James. I just don't like him.
What? A top two player all time? You don't like LeBron?
I respect him, and I'll give him the top two. I'm a diehard Kobe guy, like Kobe through and through, favorite athlete of all time. And it's just they're so different. Is like I'm just not a LeBron James guy. I respect him, just don't like him.
Uh, I don't know that one. See, my thing is, I hated Kobe growing up because obviously Boston Celtics fan. That we beat them and they beat us the following year or something like that. So, I wasn't a big Kobe guy until he currently. I get to see all the work he put in and stuff like that. And the many people lives he touched, and now legend. Obviously, you can't beat that ever. And if you ever use him and makes every single shot now because they jacked him up for sure. Every single
uh,
shot. He'll make like a half court three. I'm like, what the heck? How am I supposed to do? Yeah.
what is your favorite animal?
Ooh, monkeys.
Oh, I agree. I love the monkeys, man. Like
You, man.
I'm with you. If you could travel anywhere, where would you go?
My dad travels to South America a lot. I think South America, or I've never been out of the country, so like Cabo or something like that. So
What is something that makes you mad?
something that makes me mad. I don't know if this really makes me mad, but it makes me agitated. I hate like people gifted with the greatest athletic ability and God's grace work hard or anything like that because it makes me somewhat angry because I was like, you could have just gave that to me and it would have made my journey a whole lot easier too. But no, it doesn't make me mad, but it agitates me to an extent. It's not hard to work hard, man. It's a mindset for sure.
I like it. That's a really interesting one. What is your favorite fast food restaurant?
Chick-fil-A right now.
Chick-fil-A is a good one. What is an important quality you look for someone that you're thinking about dating?
I like athletes. I like understanding athlete. So I want her to match my athleticism and my competitive nature. If we're ever playing like I want her to whoop my butt in Wii or something.
I like it, man. That's a fun one. What is your best quality?
My ability to understand people and kind of just be understanding towards them and understand their situation, kind of put in the back of my mind when dealing with them or just just talking to them or something like that. So
I like that, and I feel like that's one of my best qualities too. Is just like understanding, and I think that's part of being a teacher is like
yeah,
understanding that not everybody has the same opportunities as everybody else, and people are all equal, but not everybody has equal playing field. So yeah, I'm with you on that.
different. I'm right there. Situations are different. Are different for everything. That's why I think we currently have problems in our countries because people just look at it from their own perspective and kind of worry about themselves. If they were to kind of put themselves in other people's shoes or you know in another gender, another race's shoes, and kind of another social classes shoes, you're like, dude, we make a change or something like that for sure.
And I don't even want to like I try not to get into it too much, but like I live like south of Pittsburgh and like this area is, just a lot of racism, a lot of, homophobia, just a lot of bigotry in general. And it's like, it's just really heartbreaking.
Right.
And I don't really know how any other way to describe it. And like you said, they're all stuck in their own way, where they're all looking at it from one viewpoint and they're like, yeah, well, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, how do you not see it? Like, you can't put yourself in somebody else's shoes. Like, you know what I mean? Like I can sit there and try to imagine, but like, until I'm in those shoes, like, how can you not just have sympathy?
Exactly. I'm with
And last one is, who is your celebrity crush?
you. I'm a killer for the blonde hair, blue eyes. Margot Robbie. When she's in
Ooh.
Suicide Squad as Harley Quinn, she looks very good. Not gonna lie. And as in Focus, because my favorite actor is Will Smith. So any Will Smith movie, like when he's in Focus or when she's in Focus with Will Smith, that's a good one too.
All right, so watch out. Here in a few years, you know what I mean. CJ's gonna be hitting up Mario Robbie, walking on the red carpet with her. There you go, bro.
Oh, don't be surprised if I pop after getting her DM. So
I love it, man. And thank you so much for coming on the show. I really appreciate you taking the time. It was really just cool to talk to you. You're really down to earth, and I'd love to stay in touch, and man, and you're welcome back anytime.
sounds good. Thank you, sir. I very much appreciate it. It was very
It's
fun.
no
I know it's gonna be this fun, so for sure.
Oh, I'm glad you had a good time, man. And guys, if you like the episode, click like and subscribe. Check CJ out on social media. Just a really good, uplifting guy who's putting in work. Just a really good person for young athletes to look up to.
Yes,
Until
sir.
next time, guys.